you look at the last game, that game versus the Chargers, before we talk about this Cowboys preview, how do you feel about that performance? I mean, they kind of squeaked out a win, if I'm not mistaken.
It was a good game. As a Broncos fan, unfortunately, I live on the East Coast, so I'm up 1 o'clock in the morning watching this game, and I'm thinking to myself, no way we're going to throw this game away. I think, personally, we dominated the entire game. We was obviously the better team. We just had those minor mistakes. We had that, interception that barely happens off of a foot, and then we had Jamal Charles fumble, and those was back-to-back. I think they scored like 14 points in less than 1 minute and 30 seconds. And even with the turnover, that's still, not an excuse because our defense is supposed to go ahead and out there and stop them. So I don't think it was a squeaky win. It did, of course, get me nervous. My heart was pounding on my chest 1:30 in the morning. But I like the win. I think it's a good win, and I like the way our team played overall.
Yeah, I mean, there was some moments in that game where I was thinking, okay, there's not a way they can lose this game because they were up. And also, Trevor Siemian, to me, it was kind of like a tale of two halves for Siemian. The first one, he was blazing. I mean, he was doing everything. The second half, it just seems like, I don't know if it was the players around him or if it was him, but it kind of made me a little worried that second half.
Well, I think what it was is the play calling. I think we got ahead early. And Vince Joseph reminds me so much of a Fox type head coach, which becomes very conservative at the end. I rather like to run up the score to make sure they are completely out of it. But the play calling became a little bit lax. We saw a little bit more Jamal Charles when C.J. Anderson was eating the entire first half. A few drops here and then. I like Trevor, though. I like the way he played. If you go back to my tweets, I've been praising him since off season. I was hoping he'd be our guy. I'm happy that he's the starting quarterback. I think he was posed. Second half was definitely different, but I think it was more play calling more than him.
Okay. And, I heard you on our friend Rory Mitchell, the Mitchell Report Unleashed, and you were very, very high on Siemian. Are you still high? Do you still think this team can go to the Super Bowl?
Absolutely. And I'm not just saying this as a Broncos fan. We are a complete team. Trevor showed what he can do. I think he showed on the biggest platform, on the biggest stage so far in the regular season, which is a Monday Night Football game, second doubleheader, rival division. And look at the offensive line we have as well, and Trevor moving around the pocket, dodging Bosa. He made some really good moves. People got to remember this guy is a 7th-round pick who had to earn his way to that spot, and he is showing it. 3 total touchdowns, 2 throwing. He did have 1 interception, but again, that was off of somebody's foot. Trevor, and I said this before, he's going to have top 10 quarterback stats this year. I'm not saying top 10 quarterback, but he will have top 10 quarterback stats this year, better than Dak Prescott.
Woo! Okay. All right, let's go ahead and get into it with these Cowboys. Once again, we're talking with Richard J. Adkins, comedian, actor, one of the biggest, probably the biggest Broncos fan that I know. So you look at this matchup right here. They're both coming off a win. The Cowboys looked very good in that opening game. You could benefit it to Eli. You knew Eli was going to throw a pick sooner or later. Odell Beckham didn't play. But I think this is going to be a good matchup. Obviously, you look at the Broncos defense. That's what a lot of people like to talk about. But I think having Jamal Charles and C.J. Anderson is crazy. And then when Devontae Booker, whenever he comes back, you got to factor that in too. But kind of what's your breakdown, you think, on the game, how you think it's probably going to go?
Well, it's going to be I think it's going to be a slow-paced game. I don't think both offenses will get out early. I think it will be one of those Seattle versus Green Bay type games where the defense kind of took control. Cowboys defense really shot me last week against the Giants. They looked extremely good. They was flying to the ball. They was hungry. And, of course, the Broncos defense. I think it's going to be a slow-scoring game. I do like CJ and Jamal together. Of course, when we get that and Booker back. I'm excited, though, for this game. This is one that was circled on my calendar. I know a lot of Cowboy fans.
Yeah, so you're in North Carolina, right?
I am. I'm in the NC State.
Yeah. It's Cowboys fans everywhere. So, yeah, you'll definitely see that. to me, the biggest thing is this is my question to you. How is Von Miller? I'm not sure who's the pass rusher on the other side, but how are they going to go up against this offensive line? This offensive line I'm going to go ahead and say it now, is the best in the NFL. I think running, we are definitely number one, but passing, I could see Von Miller's a beast. I don't know who can stop him, but if he's on the side with Tyron Smith, I could see him getting stopped. So, what do you think about this rushing of your Broncos? And then let me know who's that edge rusher on the other side. I can't remember his name.
Well, that's what scared me because the Broncos' rushing defense is terrible. We was 28th last year ranked. This year, Melvin Gordon started out early, but I do think we will hold Zeke under 80 yards. I'm not just saying that. I really mean that. I think the defense is going to eat. We have some really monsters up there. Derek Wolfe, one of my personal favorite players on the defense, I think he's going to be the focus point for stopping a run this Sunday against the Dallas Cowboys. Von Miller, he's going to do what he does, so I believe you guys might even try to double team him. So my main focus point to stop the run would be Derek Wolfe.
Okay. And he is nice. And they've pretty much have this same defense for a while. Letting Ward go, you could factor that in, but they looked good against the Chargers. Now, as we're talking right now, we don't have anything on the Zeke situation. Now, this is probably the biggest thing about this whole game. If Zeke does not play, which the NFL is still lingering with this case, they appealed his junction on the suspension. So this is probably the biggest thing in this game. If Zeke does not play, that means you got Darren McFadden and you've got Alfred Morris. They're two good running backs, but Zeke is just a freak of nature. It's hard for people to cover him, to tackle him. But I did want to get your thoughts on the Zeke situation, how you feel about it. You think he should have been suspended or should not have been suspended?
I don't think he should have been suspended. Of course, when you're talking about that type of situation, why he was suspended for, that is a very sensitive topic, and the NFL is trying to get these things right. Until more details truly come out, whether it's accurate or not, that's when I think I will have more of a comment on it. But right now, I don't think he should be suspended. I think it does hurt the Dallas Cowboys, and that's just not right. I want the Cowboys to be at full strength. And like I would want any team to be at full strength when you're going against them. You want the best out there for the field, and I wouldn't understand why the NFL would want to take that away because, you're taking away views, when you do that. And this past Sunday, there was a lot of terrible games.
Yeah. And then you had the NFC East basically playing each other. It wasn't even, they didn't play anybody else, with the Redskins playing the Eagles and then the Cowboys playing the Giants. So, but yeah, there was some crappy games for sure. Some crappy commentating too. We won't necessarily get into that.
Oh my God, yes, you have a lot. I had used the TV.
Oh my God! That wasn't even the B team. That wasn't the C team. I don't know what team. They just got Rex Ryan off the street. Hey, you're not doing nothing on Monday. Why don't you just go slide through and call this game? That's what it really felt like. Which they're trying to piecemeal.
As a Broncos fan, it was it reminded me of, I don't know if, you play 2K or not, but when you play 2K and Chris Webber is just talking about his glory days, I couldn't do it. He was just talking the whole time, and I'm like, man, and the stuff he was saying wasn't even accurate. It was not nowhere near accurate. It was terrible. And yeah.
Yeah. Once again, we're talking with Richard J. Adkins, biggest Broncos fan. I had to get him on the show. Previewing Cowboys versus Broncos. Now, I want to do this. Compare the two wide receiving corps. You've got, Demetrius Thomas, as always. You got Emmanuel Sanders. Benny Fowler. Oh, my God. The way he played that past game, the connection it looks like between him and Trevor Siemian. You look at on the Cowboys side, of course, you got Dez, got Terrence Williams, you got Beasley. Comparing those two, do you give the upside to your Broncos, being honest?
It's kind of hard because I feel like Des Bryant and Thomas, they kind of match
Cancel
well.
each other. Yeah.
Yeah, Cole Beasley. Cole Beasley is really good. He's one of those guys who's like a short catch. But then you have Sanders, and you have Fowler, you have Williams. So it's kind of tough. I want to say that both cores is pretty much even at this point. But with Dak being the more, I guess you say, quote unquote, experience, even though they played about the same amount of games as Trevor, I would say I would give the Cowboys the upside because Dak is probably the better quarterback at the moment.
Yeah.
And that has a lot to do with the factor of the wide receivers, in my opinion. Like, that would be the difference maker for me.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely agree with you on that. Now, John Elway has been a pretty good GM. I mean, the way he was able to get in Peyton Manning, some of the moves that he's made, he doesn't seem afraid to make moves. Now, he brought back Osweiler. Now, I got to ask you, how do you feel about Osweiler coming back? And is he even going to see the field, or is he more like a third string, probably IR reserve type of guy?
So John Elway has been great, and John Elway I trust. I've been saying this forever. So let's just look at the facts here. John Elway, second best overall record in the NFL since taking over the team, only trailed the Patriots by 5 games since 2011. And we had TMT War at that moment too, so it just wasn't the Peyton Manning era. You got to also look at how he got how he got Brock Osweiler back. We got him for $16 million cheaper. Another team is playing our quarterback to sit on our bench that we wanted all along. We signed Brock Osweiler back for $775,000. That's it.
Wow.
Not even $1 million. So I like it. I love it. I love what John Elway does, how he does it. Of course, there has been some things I didn't like with the Elvis Doom era when he ended up in Baltimore, the whole fax machine era and all of that crap, and TJ Ward releasing. But I love this move. I'm a big fan of Brock Osweiler. However, I don't think he will see the field unless Trevor does get hurt. Right now, Paxton Lynch is hurt for at least 3 or 4 weeks, I think. So that's why he's pretty much on the team. I think he'll be a third string.
Yeah, I agree with that. And that's crazy how that all went down. He gets traded, or he doesn't sign with the Broncos, goes to the Texans. The Texans say, what are we doing? We don't want you. We don't want you at all. So we're going to trade you over to the Browns. The Browns don't want him. They're starting Kaiser, and then he ends up back with the team he started with. So he kind of went around a circle. I mean, at the end of the day, he's getting paid, so he doesn't have any worries. And I wouldn't have any worries either. I would sit on the bench and watch my bank account go up too.
Oh, yeah, absolutely. Hands down.
All right, so let's talk about this score prediction. What do you think the score is going to be? How do you think the game is going to end? You think a field goal? Do you think a touchdown? Or what's your thoughts?
I'm not sure what you guys call yourself. I'm going to just say Cowboys Nation. I hate to break the news to you, but you're going to lose 31-10. And here's why. The Broncos defense is going to eat all game. Dak Prescott is going to look like Dak Prescott in a sophomore slump, and he's going to throw a lot of pick sixes. Give me Broncos 31, Dallas Cowboys 10, and a dominated game now. And when we first start, the game is going to go really slow. It's going to be a very defensive-type game. Second half is going to be a whole different animal. That's my prediction.
Okay. So what I'm going to say is Zeke eats regardless. So Zeke is going to get his 100. I think Dak, I do think he's going to throw a pick because the secondary that you guys have is solid. He's going to be getting abused on the right side. I think they're going to have to try some stunts for sure because he's not – Von Miller or whoever's on that side is not going to be getting past Tyron Smith. I do think it is going to be a tight game. I think it's going to come down to the end of a game. I think it's going to be 3 to 7 points. But I got my Cowboys winning. I think it's going to be tight though. But Zeke eats, and I think that's what he did all last year. Now the only thing is, if for some reason he is not on the field, that completely changes everything on my end. But I do see us winning the game. I'm gonna say 28-24. I think this could be a close one. But
okay,
yeah, I mean it's to me, this was a matchup that I had to watch, especially with both of them coming off of wins. We couldn't beat the Giants